Hey, what is going on, everyone, and hope you're all recovering from the disaster that is the Cloak and Dagger U-turn on the blog and Strike Pass in this absolutely crazy situation that we're in with regards to the free shards via the Luminous orbs that were made available for a handful of people in the community. You might have seen my video, that was a very short video that was released recently, and at least as of recording this video, there hasn't been any official word yet from Cerebro, other than that they are looking into it. That being said, today's video is going to be about the two of them, but I want to discuss which character that I think might be the best one that you're going to want to get first. Now, I say it like this because realistically you're going to need to choose one before the other, especially if you're free to play. If you pay and buy both offers for the characters, that's great, but the way that the Strike Pass is now set up and the way the blitzes will be kind of pushes you towards having to choose which shards you want out of these Luminous orbs, which we'll go over as well. By the end of the video, hopefully we can determine which I believe is the better character to try and get first, who you might get more use out of standalone outside of the duo before both are hopefully obtainable by the end of the next 2 months or so, which is a very long time. But who really knows, because this is absolutely the worst character unlock method in the game's history, and I just am exhausted by the amount of screw-ups that they've done this patch. But of course, without further ado, buckle yourself up, everyone, and let's get this roller coaster started. Okay, and so before we get started, I just want to draw your guys' attention to the blog post, which was from this past Friday, the Absolute Carnage blog post. They've already gone and updated the Strike Pass portion where they talked about Cloak and Dagger kicking off, and it's really funny because they've just now, instead of deleting things, they've just strike through the whole stuff that they were talking about with regards to the character shards, because it's wrong, and don't ignore that. I'm getting some sort of warning here. This is just nuts. So before, if you guys may have noticed that people were talking about this on Reddit a little bit, that they mentioned that there was supposed to be 50 Cloak shards and Dagger shards, or I guess, sorry, the Luminous orbs. Your choice of being able to choose Cloak or Dagger shards via the Luminous orbs along the free path and the premium path, but they removed that because we've seen what it looks like in game now, which is, by the way, pretty terrible. So the first pass is going to be 20 Cloak shards free, and then 6 Luminous orbs worth of credit, which allows you to open up 30 more shards of your choice. So 20 Cloak shards guaranteed, and 30 choice shards. So that could be either Cloak or that could be the Dagger. And then obviously if you pay, you get double that. So that would be, if you pay, you would get 40 Cloak shards and 60 choice shards. Now the pass number 2 is the same thing, but it's on the other end. So you're getting 20 Dagger shards and then 30 more choice shards. So at the end of it, it's completely free to play. You're going to be 20 Cloak shards, 20 Dagger shards, and 60, I was doubling that, sorry, my bad. 60 choice shards, so it's 100, right, in the free-to-play, and then 200 it would have been total shards in the paid over the 2 months. But this is 2 months worth of passes. So what are we now, like, our date, we're on like September 14th, so like 2 months down from that, we're gonna be like at, mid-November, and by that point we're gonna be like, I don't know, in patch 5.9 or some shit, with after the suspected bio patch. It's just gonna be so long that I'm gonna be like, Cloak and Dagger who? Because it's just going to take so long for anyone to realistically unlock this completely free to play. And we do know that there is going to be blitzes on September 23rd. That's going to be next Thursday, I believe. And that's the first one. But what we know is that it's going to be rewarding Luminous credits, and not direct shards, but we don't know how many orbs this is going to be. I don't assume that 1% is going to get you 100 shards worth of orbs. I just don't think that's going to be the case. How much is going to be available free to play in the milestones? We don't know that either. There's a lot of unknowns here, but realistically, this is taking two of the worst release methods in my opinion, which is Strike Pass being the worst, and blitzes, some might argue on this, but it's combining the two, and it's just making it really bad for both, and it's just not great. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I want to go back into the game. I want to talk about some of my strategies that I've done. Before we talk about the characters, I want to talk about the strategies that I've done in order to get myself a little bit closer to unlocking these characters. So you guys might know that there is this Within the Shadows orb. I did do some of this poll last week when I did the Cloak Red Star orbs as well. That I did pull about 52. Yeah, no, weird number. That's what I landed on. I think I opened about 7 or 8 of these orbs, and I managed to get 52 shards for Cloak. Now, this isn't available for Dagger yet, but this allowed me to get about halfway or just over halfway to unlocking Cloak free to play without actually spending any money. Now, for those of you who are quite ahead, I guess, in the Power Core game due to your arena situation, that this is something that I recommend. Now, not necessarily Cloak anymore because this has been about a week and a half already, but we should be getting Dagger soon. Now, as of recording this video, Dagger is not in the Red Star orbs. Her offers have not gone live. If this happens between my between me filming this video and the release of this video, then that's something I might recommend. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to do the same for Dagger. So I'm going to be pulling about 50 shards or so for Dagger when that comes out, and hopefully she does have a 675 orb. She should do alongside the offer, just like Cloak did. I imagine that they'll do that, and so that'll help me get a little bit further ahead. And I do this quite often on Strike Pass characters. I did this for Cap Sam. I got really lucky on Cap Sam. I got a 60 shard pull. Great. I don't think I'm going to get it again, but you know, I did this for Polaris as well because the shard scarcity on these Strike Pass characters are at such a high that I think it's worth using your power cores to actually get a few extra shards, and that will help you unlock them quicker. And the way that this unlock method is going is that you could hypothetically get Dagger unlocked within a month or sooner, or Cloak, whoever you decide to do by the end of this video. And so that's what I wanted to mention there. I also want to bring up my new warriors really quickly here, and so you can see that I have 52 shards for Cloak. So when we talk about Cloak and Dagger separately, I do want to talk about them also within the context of assuming that you have Deathpool available to you, because I think that makes sense. She was a campaign event character. She's Mystic as well, and so if you're using her for, if you're using them for Mystic, then very likely you're going to have Deathpool geared. And if you had to choose any of these characters, definitely go for Deathpool still, because she's going to be the top dog for this team. I don't know why I said top dog, but you know that she is the better character. So if you had to choose any of them, do Deathpool first, and we'll talk about now whether or not Cloak or Dagger is better. I mean, this might be Red Star dependent as well, and we can't say that yet without Dagger being available in the Red Stars. However, I think just on average, we can talk about who we think will be the better character, Cloak or Dagger. So let's jump on over to msf.gg, because that's the best place to really look at this. Alright, so if you guys aren't familiar with msf.gg, I don't know why I screwed that up when I say it. If you don't know about it, then use it. This is a really great resource, and thank you to the website owners for this great resource for Marvel Strike Force. So if you're not familiar with the tags for Cloak, Hero City Mystic Controller, that's important over what Dagger is, who is a support. And so let's go through the kit one by one, and also look at the amount of T4s that I think he might be needing to kind of determine who you might get a better use out of. So, and what I want to kind of pay attention, special close attention to, is how much of the kit actually requires Dagger, and what do you get for having Dagger. So, because we're thinking about this in a standalone context, you know, one over the other, we need to kind of remove some of the text that says with Dagger or with Cloak on Dagger's side to kind of get a better idea of who I think might be better. So the basic right away, I think they both have this. They both apply assist to a random Dagger or Cloak ally. This one applies offense down. Does it with a 6? Yes, it does. So it's just more damage. So you don't really need the T4s in this case for Cloak, which is good. His special, Umbral Embrace, charge 3, ability energy 3, clear all positive effects from primary target. Attack primary target for 300% damage, apply slow for 2 turns, defense down for 2 turns, and offense down for 2 turns. So 3 different debuffs, very good. Gain assist at plus 50% damage from one random Dagger ally. Okay, so we're not going to get this without both of them. So let's remove this down to 6. And it's the difference between 1 and 2 turns. So I think you definitely, and 100% damage, wow. So I think you definitely need the T4s on this one for sure. So that's 1 T4 skill mandatory. Shadow Assault, 5 out of 5. Attack all enemies for 280% damage, plus apply 3 random negative effects. This is like a Moon Knight ultimate, basically. Blind, defense down, disrupted, offense down, and slow. So that's 5. That's 3 of the 5, plus 1 vulnerable, up to a maximum of 5. So what I don't really like about this is that vulnerable... Oh, sorry. Disrupted. Did I say vulnerable? I thought vulnerable was part of this list. I'm blind. I don't know why I saw that. So you're getting a lot of stuff here. If Dagger is an ally, attack all enemies for 380 piercing. This is crazy. So that changes 280% damage to 380% piercing. That's a crazy amount of damage difference. So you're not going to get that without Dagger on the team, and that's what I'm concerned about. And the +1 offense down. So even though that it already does offense down on this list here, it basically guarantees that offense down is going to happen as long as Dagger is on the team. So moving this down to 6, what is the difference? Really, I don't know, damage? Is that it? Really? Damage? That's all I'm seeing, actually. Yeah, seems like damage. So, that's not actually a huge priority. That's shocking, actually, for an ultimate attack to only have a 50% difference, unless I'm missing something else. That's crazy. Normally, there's a lot more on there, unless I'm missing something. Dark Force Conduit, his passive. Now, this is supposed to be the one that's really, really good. But unfortunately, I think that with Dagger, that it's just not as good without her. So at the end of this character's turn, 50% chance to steal 5% health from the most injured enemy and all adjacent enemies. So that's what's really cool, is it's not just the injured enemy, but it's the ones adjacent to them as well, and redistributes to self. If Dagger is an ally, always steal, and it also redistributes to self and all allies. So this makes a pretty big difference. I actually don't think that it's that good without her, because, you know, it's guaranteed, otherwise it's only 50% chance, and then it only redistributes to himself instead of everyone. So I think you really need Dagger in order to take advantage of that. In raids, when an enemy gains offense down, reduce the speed bar of that enemy by 15%. That's really good. Focus. More focus if you have Dagger. Mystic Heroes allies gain 40% focus, gain 20% dodge chance if Dagger's an ally, gain 10% more dodge chance. In raids, gain 15% damage, new warrior allies gain 15% damage, and then while character has offense up, gain more dodge. So lots of dodge here, but more dodge with Dagger. Now let's remove this down to 4. 20% focus difference. Is that it? I think it's just that. Is it just the focus? It looks like it's just the focus. So not a crazy amount. So, oh, wait. And the dodge, sorry, the additional dodge as well. So it seems that the only one that you really need to have the T4 is an Umbral Embrace, in my opinion. So only one required. However, I think that his passive just really isn't much good without Dagger. I think this health distribution, the health steal, I think that's really important to his kit. So without that, I don't know. I'm kind of aiming towards Dagger a little bit now. Although you do get the offense down part in the speed bar. So that's kind of interesting. I guess that really depends on whether or not you need more control or whether you need more support, depending on what characters you have available in your team. Let's take a look also. I do want to make mention of this in case people are unaware. Cloak does require superior miasma. Sorry, it's off the screen a little bit here. You can kind of see it here. My frame is in the way, but you can see it down here. Superior miasma. So this is a bit of a problem because Deathpool also requires miasma. So if you've been building Deathpool, and especially if you've been building like Doom or Adam Warlock, or anyone else that's been using miasma lately, you're probably not in a very good position with superior miasma in order to build him, especially on the back of Deathpool. So I know for myself, I might be able to take him to tier 14. I'm not entirely sure if I even have that much. So this is going to be a consideration that I'm going to have whether or not I take him up or not first. So let's talk about Dagger, though, and her kit individually. Now, attack primary target for 250% piercing, plus apply 2 bleed, apply 2 regeneration to the most injured 2 allies or self, and then apply assist now to random cloak. So, 6, what does it do? Oh, the difference of 2. Apply 2 regen to the 2 most injured ally. That actually seems pretty good. It also applies an additional bleed on the assist and counter info, but that's probably mostly relevant if you're running Cloak, because I don't think you're getting a ton of assists in the Mystic lane without him. Peak. So this is the special ability on a cooldown of 5. Attack primary target for 320% piercing. Clear all positive effects. Very similar to Cloak. Chain to 4 adjacent targets for piercing. On crit, clear random positive effects. Counterattack breaks the chain, clear heal block from all Mystic hero allies. So this is kind of important as well, because depending on what characters you're running on the team, you're probably going to want to run characters like Silver Surfer or Adam Warlock, probably if you can. Doom, you know, if you have Doom, I'd run Doom anyways, but yeah, this is interesting. Heal all allies for 20% of this character's max health. That's pretty good. So from 6 to 7, what are we getting? Some damage, clearing the positive effects, and some extra chaining. I'm not sure if you need to get this to number 7, to level 7, but it would be beneficial, but it's not a huge deal if you don't. So, not mandatory there. Sisson Attitude, I don't even know if I said that right, on a cooldown of 5, attack all enemies for 380% piercing. So that right away is great, because you're getting piercing damage regardless of if Cloak is there or not. Plus apply 1 offense down up to a maximum of 5 to all enemies. I like that, that it stacks. If Cloak is an ally, additionally attack all enemies for 280% damage. So is that an extra attack? Looks like that's the case, like a team-up attack. I think I saw that in the video. Apply 3 random negative effects from this list. So you're not getting this without Cloak. So that's basically taking Cloak's ultimate a little bit and just doing it again. Apply +1 vulnerable up to a maximum of 5. Okay, so I do like that it's piercing damage. So it's actually going to have probably a better impact than not having Cloak, rather, on Cloak's ultimate not having Dagger. I think this one's better than Cloak's ultimate. Standalone, that's what I meant to say. Now, from 6 to 7, what are we getting? With the piercing damage, and it looks... Is that it? Really? I'm shocked. On both sides, it's really just damage. So that's another one you don't really have to get up if you don't want to, but that is a lot of damage, especially for AoE if you want to or not. Light Force Generation. On spawn, apply 3 regen for 2 turns to self and all Mystic Hero allies. This is good. On turn, apply offense up to self and all adjacent allies. This is also really good. On turn, 50% chance to gain evade if Cloak is an ally, always gain evade. Gain 50% resistance if Cloak is an ally. Gain 30% additional resistance. Mystic Heroes also gain that. And raise damage, new warriors gain that. Okay, so from 4 to 5, 20% resistance. And that seems to be about it. Sorry. Mystic Heroes also 20% resistance difference. Oh, sorry, the regen. 2 regen for 2 turns, 3 regen for 2 turns. So that's actually pretty good, I think. I would still probably get the special first on the T4s and then the passive second. That's a very good passive, considering you actually don't really need Cloak for a lot of this, compared to what you get from Cloak's passive for having Dagger down here on Dark Force Conduit, this part here, the always steal health, and to redistribute to all allies. So what do I think at the end of this? Let's check on her superior unique as well. This is really important. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is Tesseract Energy. So Tesseract Energy hasn't really been used since Corvus Glaive, as far as I'm aware. So it's very likely that a lot of people do have a good chunk of this. Now, she does require 4 sets of mini uniques for G15. How much does Cloak need? Let's just see what the difference are. It could be the same. Actually, it's a little bit less, so Cloak requires a little bit less gear. But what this means to me is that Dagger, I think, has a little bit higher base stats as a result because she's more expensive to gear. So that must mean overall that she could actually do more damage, despite being a support character. Support characters lately have been known to be quite strong. So I think my verdict at the end of this, for me, personally, is going to be Dagger, I think. And I think the reason why I'm going this way is partially because of Cloak's passive, partially because Cloak requires superior miasma, and I really don't like that, because if you are on the back of gearing up Deathpool, that's not very great, and not being able to really activate the full power of the Dark Force Conduit here on the passive without having Dagger as an ally, I just don't know if you're getting as much bonus here. The new Warriors damage stuff, you're getting that with Dagger already anyways, and you're getting more support, which I think that the Mystics probably need a little bit more of right now. So that would allow me to be able to take off one of my other characters. I'm not sure who that would be. It might be Ebony Maw, to be honest. I think there's a little bit more support here from Dagger, and I would be really interested to see how this works out with her. Now, of course, we know that the first Strike Pass is technically a Cloak Strike Pass, because it's 20 shards of Cloak, and then 30 choice shards. What I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping that when Dagger's offer becomes available, I'm going to pull her shards for the 675 core orb, which you guys, obviously, you can find this in the orb store section here. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be pulling up to about 50 shards or so, maybe a little bit more. We'll see, maybe to 70 if I can get there. That way, when it gets to the choice shards from the Strike Pass, that I can unlock her that way, and then just put the rest of the shards into Cloak at that point. Now, what I am concerned about, and some people have been discussing, is whether or not Cloak and Dagger are going to be required for the next legendary event or not. And that depends on if Omega Red is a legendary or not, because if he's not, then I could see Cloak and Dagger being part of either a City Hero Mystic team, which some people have been talking about, or some sort of mixed new warriors thing. And that really, you know, what are you going to do with 2 strike pass characters that you need to get to 5-star? That's even worse. But we'll talk about closer to the time if that becomes an issue or not. Otherwise, I think the verdict is Dagger. I'm going to go with Dagger, mainly because of the superior unique, and I want more support characters. I think I need a little bit more help on that side of things. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you have Deathpool built up quite a bit, and you have some of these other characters, you probably don't need either of them. But I think that if I were to choose one, it's going to be Dagger. So let me know down below in the comments, are you guys choosing Cloak? Are you Team Cloak? Are you Team Dagger? Until we can get both, which, you know, realistically for non-spenders could take upwards to 2 months. This is absolutely the worst release method the game has had to date, and I'm not done talking about it. I probably will discuss this more on the blog post video, just because this is an absolute travesty the way that they've handled this. So that's the end of the video, guys, and let me know all that in the comments down below. Till next time, stay safe and healthy, and I will see you all later. Boilon signing out.